Hi, everybody, and welcome to a brand new edition of the At-Home MSG 150, coming to you from the friendly confines of Connecticut. I'm Bill Pidto. We have Steve Valiquette in Connecticut. Wally Szczerbiak is still in Columbus, Ohio, and Alan Hahn is on Long Island. And as we go through this, guys, my question to you is, can someone send me a padlock? I need a padlock for my refrigerator.
I already did that on the pantry for my kids. Locked.
Seriously,
Sorry.
How do you stay out of the fridge all day long?
Are you working out at all, Bill?
I am, but that's only like a half hour. I mean, there's a lot of other times here where that refrigerator is calling my name. That's a serious problem, is it not?
Is there a Mike and Ike shortage in Connecticut or what? Are you scooping up, Bill?
It's not the Mike and Ike's. I mean, the fridge has got a lot. Seriously, you guys having that problem or not? Hahn, no?
No. My bigger issue is trying to hide the Xbox controllers because that's all they want to do when this online schooling is over. They fight over that. I just want to throw it out in the pool or something.
Wally and Val, you guys are really disciplined. No problems with food consumption?
No problems.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think I'm working out more, though, now than
That's true.
got time.
Yup.
That is very true. I mean, I'm going on bike rides. I'm rehabbing my hip. I'm doing all kinds of stuff to stay busy. It's actually good for working out.
Bill, get a Peloton. I'm Peloton champion these days every day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, and hopefully it's all hypothetical down the line, but when things get started, it seems like there's a good chance, guys, that we're going to have pro sports without fans in either the arena or stadiums. And Valley and Wally, you guys know all about the impact of a crowd. Wally, let's start with you. How do you think that might work out if you guys, not you guys, but the pro players have to play with no fans in the stands?
Honestly, I think it's no problem. I remember we had closed scrimmages where we played in our arena and we just went after it against each other in practice. You have a shoot around in the arena every day, so you're shooting around without fans in the stands. You put a couple referees and officials out there. We mimicked that in our own home gyms without fans in order to get used to the rims, in order to get used to our arena. We did it in training camp. We did it leading up to the season. Sometimes we practiced in our arena just to get used to the rims, get ready for a homestand and stuff like that. To me, it has zero effect. Obviously, well, I can't say zero effect. Obviously, fans, they raise your adrenaline level. So when you go to the basket, you elevate higher, you get more into the game, you get those emotions and juices flowing, no question. But NBA players, and I'm sure hockey players, they're used to playing without people around. They're very self-motivated. They practice every day without people motivating them, cheering them on. I don't see it being a problem at all.
Valley, what do you think?
Yeah, I disagree with Wally because I played at every different level. Wally was spoiled. He only played in the NBA. I played at every minor league level you can think of. And I'll tell you what, guys, when I went down to the East Coast Hockey League, which was AA, we had big crowds. There was a loyalty and a unity in that small community. As soon as I went up to the AAA level in the American Hockey League, it was unbelievable in the Northeast. People are too busy. They didn't come to games. And it reflects the way that you don't have that euphoric feeling when you play at Madison Square Garden in front of a huge crowd. If there's one thing that I forget is really that feeling of euphoria. It's like a retired player saying, what do you miss most about the sport? Time in the locker room. I miss that step over the threshold. If I could have that one more time, my everyday life, I'm happy. But I've never experienced that euphoria that you get in those extra juices and competitive.
Come on, Valley. Sitting in the MSG studio, you get a rush every night, don't you? Come on.
No, I just get nervous. You know,
Around you, Bill, we all get nervous for you.
Yeah, so no, I think that's a big thing, guys. Look, I can tell you what, it's really difficult to play in Albany on a Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and you feel the furthest thing away from the NHL when you're playing in the American Hockey League. It affects the way you play. Now, you know, with respect to what Wally's saying, I know those closed court games that you have when you're playing and you're probably competing for a spot. Those get you up too, just like a training camp scrimmage does for a New York Ranger. But I mean, guys, the playoffs in hockey are special, and you get a special performance because of the crowd.
Alan, what do you think?
Well, how do you have home ice or home court advantage in the postseason if you're really not playing in front of a crowd? It's one thing to have a building, but they're all the same. The courts are the same. The rinks these days are the same. It's not like you're going, to old Boston Garden or, into Chicago, into Chicago Stadium where the ice was a different size. everything's the same. So, I wouldn't even, if you're going to play without fans, don't play in the arenas. That doesn't make any sense. Just play in the practice facilities and use the same sheet that you'd use. In fact, Wally, I think the shooting would be better in the NBA if you're playing in the practice gyms, because you're more used to those, and it's also more confined space. But we're gonna have to do something,
Like
and from
depth perception, because the depth perception, when you don't see anybody behind the hoop, it's
Yeah.
easier. Yeah.
and Wally will tell you is you shoot there more than you shoot in your arena. I mean, Knick players shoot more in Westchester than they do at the Garden. So, but the one thing I do agree with what Valley said was there's something about a buzz. There's something, especially the Garden, that Garden buzz. We all know what that feels like. We've all been in the building for a big game where it's 5 o'clock and they haven't let anybody in yet, but you kind of get a feel. And then once the people start walking in, it just starts to build and the crescendo. That's what it's about. And so if you're going to play playoff games without fans, it's definitely going to be different. But there's a way to do it. And, I think there is also that alternative of you need something. And if you want to play, you get into the more intimate situations, the practice facilities. And, oh, by the way, now we can hear the players talk trash. And if you're a fan watching at home or one of us who will be in a studio somewhere calling the game, it still would be exciting. It would be very different, but it would be also, to me, it's something I would be very interested to see at how it would look.
One of the things that's come out is that if they centralize locations, that these athletes who may obviously want the compensation that's going to come with playing may not want to leave their families. I mean, Wally and Valley, you guys have families. Would you potentially, and obviously you're not playing now, but hypothetically, would you leave your family if it meant, Wally, going to Las Vegas to play basketball in the NBA to get it restarted?
Sometimes that's part of it. We go on long road trips, sometimes 2-week long road trips. We're away from our families during the season. You have to sacrifice in times like this. There are a lot of people on the front lines in hospitals that are sacrificing, putting their lives on the line for this, coronavirus and what's going on. So I just feel like if that's what the NBA is asking in order to keep everyone safe involved, and you can bring a lot of joy and emotion and you can, bring NBA basketball back to people at a time where I think they really need it. And we can rally around the NBA and the NHL, especially a playoff type atmosphere, going for the Stanley Cup and going for the Larry O'Brien trophy. I just think you have to make that sacrifice as a player. I know if I was in that position, I would be willing to do it, and my family would be willing to support it because that's part of the business, and that's one of the reasons why professional athletes get paid so much money to at times make sacrifices for the benefit of the greater good and especially the fans.
Yeah, I can remember even retiring for the first day, I was trying to explain to myself how I would help youth hockey players have the experience in the sport that I had. 2 words came to mind: sacrifice and discipline, just like you said, Wally. And you don't really understand what that is until you're in it, but you almost have blinders on, preparing yourself for the next performance. These guys that are in it right now, guys, they miss the game badly. And if they can help everybody have a nice day, have something to look forward to at the end of the day, to watch a sporting event and get everybody off of, looking at the news reports and being aware of what's around them and the insecurities that go with that, I think would be a great release for everybody.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go over the new playoff format in the NFL. And I promise that during the commercial break, I'm not going to run upstairs to the refrigerator. As well, as you can see, the necks get a little big. Stay with us. We're back with more after this.